What's
I missed you
happening?
guys last week.
We missed
I
you.
know.
I know.
How's it going?
I had to chit chat over the comments.
You did it,
Yeah,
Kevin.
we saw you chiming in. We saw that for sure.
Welcome everyone to Yup Live. It's another fabulous Wednesday. We are now 6 days away from the big election.
Just crazy.
Oh, child. Yeah.
It's
It's almost
messy.
over. It is almost
I don't
over.
think it's almost over. I think
This
it's just getting
nightmare is
started.
It is a
what? Nah.
nightmare.
Yeah, I'm with Jasmine.
But yes, welcome to Yup Live. I am Shariq LeMay. Below me, we have Miss,
Jasmine Laverne.
and next to
Hey.
her, we have,
Oh, at the bottom, Lawrence, aka Bobby Boy Bob.
and then next
I
to
like the name.
next to me, I said her. I'm looking at myself. Next to me, we have our wonderful Miss Producer Extraordinaire, Miss Catherine.
What's up,
Yes.
Catherine?
You guys get to meet Catherine for the first time. She has been behind the scenes, working the board, being awesome and
Yeah.
amazing, and
Getting us together.
Well, honey. So thank you, Catherine. Good to see you. Say hi to everybody.
Hi everyone. It's nice to be live. Usually I'm just behind watching the comments, adding your funny comments on the screen. So
She be blocking people too.
Right, because you know we have them trolls.
Shout out to Miss Gigi, who isn't able to be here with us today. Hopefully she can chime in in the comments. But we hope you are enjoying your life and protecting your peace, as she always says. So yeah, you guys, this is a
Gigi out there lit, man. She be out
lit.
there. She's somewhere around the world right now.
She is. Where's she at? Tulum?
She's
Tulum or
Carmen
something?
San Diego. Look, Gigi is Carmen San Diego.
Oh,
She
she
is.
is.
Literally.
Where is she? We don't know, and I am not
Right.
able to tell you. but hey, Chris, I just saw his comment come up.
Yes, hey boo.
So today is a very unconventional show. We have our group chat. Our group chat is really lit. And I was just like, you know what, you guys, I don't want to have a structured show today. We're like 6 days away from the election. I've been like super anxious to get this election over. I've been on the edge with everything that's going on. So let's just have a free-for-all, shooting this ish conversation. And then later on, have a special guest come in who we haven't seen in a while. So I'm excited about that. So I'll just throw it out there. So how's everybody doing and what's on your mind? What's the latest, the greatest? What do you want to let off your chest?
I want to start. today.
Yeah, you said you had a lot to say. So
I had a lot to say.
Lay it on us.
You know, this whole concept of just letting it all out. I was excited. You know, I had to throw the grill in today. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Let people know I was going to give my full self to this conversation.
Okay.
First thing I wanted to bring up was
no imposter syndrome.
Where are all of the 5G conspiracy theorists now? Now, I know this is kind of like a serious topic, but everybody told me coronavirus ain't real. The government just trying to get at you. The numbers are still going up. And if y'all out there partying, you need to tone it down and wear masks because it's still serious. But can somebody tell me where they're at, especially in our community? You know, a lot of people is out here talking that, oh, it's not real. What happened to all that noise, y'all? Does anybody know?
I mean,
I always thought it was real, but I got 5G on my phone too. So
I was tower searching, at the beginning when all of that was coming out. But I think no one expected for this to be going on as long as it is, know. And then the peak of it all was when 45 actually caught it. But now there's more conspiracy theorists coming out that are saying he didn't really have it. There's people saying that Melania has a doppelganger because there was pictures of her on the plane. So I think they're just finding new conspiracies, honestly, Lawrence, to attach themselves onto.
I got you.
QAnon is still out there, so there's all of those more, far right conspiracy theorists. But
I heard that Tupac joined QAnon the other week. I heard they together hooked up. Maybe that's where it's.
Maybe
they all together.
Catherine, did you ever?
I think everyone might be chilling on their unemployment fraud checks. Maybe everyone took a step back. It's relaxing. Maybe that
before they go to jail.
So I have a question, guys. Did you all watch the Joe Rogan Kanye interview?
I don't have 3 hours of my life to dedicate to Kanye.
It's 3 hours. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched the majority of it.
What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah.
So the reason why I bring it up is because me and Kanye are both Geminis. So I relate a lot about what he says, but I do think he's crazy. But I understand his pattern of thinking. And he talks about like we're in this hypnosis where like we're at the fall of humanity right now because like we're valuing the dollar and because we are valuing the wrong things in life where we should be valuing community and church and like all these things that used to hold us together that now we're having fallen apart. And that's honestly how I feel with the election, like what's going to happen after, like it has to be some kind of revelation, right?
Yeah. I would say one of the things I did see that Kanye spoke about too, just to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, and I'll come back to it just to expose his crazy. He was kind of rebutting what he said about slavery.
He did. Yeah. And I still didn't understand what he said. It didn't
so it was kind of really weird, but I did see that clip where he talked about that. I think what he's trying to say is that we're at a point where things are getting so bad that there's nowhere else to go but up.
Exactly.
You know, there's nowhere else there's nothing else for us to do. We're so divided. There's nothing else for us to do but come together. And that's why
you know what?
Go ahead.
My good therapist, I won't say her name, but my good therapist that I used to go to, she said that we're about to enter Jimmy, I saw the reason we get. Look, let me tell you about how many gray hairs I got on my head. I had to dye my hair. But anyways, my good therapist was saying that we're entering a time, 2020, where Mother Earth is like laboring itself and it's coming of labor and birthing into a new world, new generation. So I kind of feel it. I'm kind of hopeful that we will have this new kind of world order, if you will. But I do think we still have to kind of unpack our issues because it looks like we're just witnessing America as a failed experiment.
Yeah, I agree.
It's such a new country. Aren't we like the last country that was established and not necessarily free? Like we were one of the first free from our ruler, but one of the,
Lawrence.
I don't know.
Come on, scholar. Tell me what I'm wrong about.
Well, so the United States of America has the longest.
The United States of America.
It has the longest running constitution of any civilized nation in the world, right? So we've been doing this thing for a minute. But this is what the most important. This is why I was looking like that. Y'all on this show, it's not about Geminis. It's y'all are too rich. I don't know where you at, Jasmine, but it's looking like you on some high rise out here, living the life with a nice old sweater on. You know what I'm saying? That's some designer something. Your makeup all done and everything.
Blessed.
You're blessed. This is a blessed people issue. Yeah, Kanye can talk about getting back to Mother Earth and the roots of the soul. You got $1 billion. When you was out here broke a couple years ago, you wasn't talking about none of that. Just like Chris said, ain't his t-shirts worth $350? So you selling $350 t-shirts, telling everybody else to get zen.
But he was talking about that his shoes, about the tongue of our sneakers go up, that the way he does his shoes is ergonomics. That's good for your back. I learned that when I was ergonomics. Yeah, that.
Okay.
And so now his new shoes, those like foam posit things that they look like.
Yeah.
Those are ergonomics, so they doesn't have a tongue, and that's supposed to be better for you, your posture and everything. So he's a minimalist.
Let him live. Yes, let him live his life. I do want to go back a little bit, and we haven't covered the debate from last week.
Oh yeah. I didn't watch it.
It wasn't as much of a mess. It was.
Yes, I did.
It was quite interesting. I'll reserve my comments, but Catherine, what did you think about the debate?
I think it was a little less childish than the first one. But I guess what the funniest part of it, which it shouldn't even be funny, but when Trump said, "I'm the least racist person in the room," and then he said, "I can't see the audience," I was like, "Is this even an audience?" I think the room is empty, but he's the least racist person in the room just shows that he is, he's saying that I am a racist. I'm just the least racist in this room. And he said that in front of a Black woman.
Exactly.
So really
the disrespect.
The disrespect.
How do we think Biden did on this debate?
He had a little bit more backbone. in this debate, I think, in the final debate.
I agree.
Like, I have no problem saying I'm gonna vote for Biden, but man, he leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to public speaking. He tries to do these like little anecdotal stories like Obama, and then he like fumbles over it. And then Trump called him out on it once, and I started dying laughing. So he was like, "Yeah, back when you're home reaching for your spouse because you miss them." I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, what is this story, Biden? Just stick to the facts."
No, you know what got me when they were talking about the oil or something.
Fracking.
And, the fracking. And Trump was like, "Oh, do you hear that? Oh." like he know Biden was fucking up.
Yeah, he was like, "Do you hear this, Texas? Do you
hear this?"
Pointing out all the things. Yeah,
I definitely think Trump was actually quite hilarious to me.
He's hilarious.
It was definitely good TV. Biden had a couple of little, where I was like, "All right, Biden, I see you with the clap."
Yeah.
But, I thought it was hilarious when he was like, "Abe Lincoln over here."
Yes.
I like that too.
That part was kind of smooth, but then Trump overshadowed it because he didn't catch what Biden was doing. He was like, "No, I didn't say I was Abe Lincoln. I said Simpson." In terms of policy, what I think where Biden missed, where the big miss, especially when they were talking about the children down in the cages on the border, Biden didn't answer his question when Trump kept saying, "Oh, well, who built it? Who built it? Who built it?" Biden shied away from answering that question. He could have easily had said, "Dude, yeah, we built it, but you're using it, and you haven't kids without their parents. Who cares who built it? We didn't have kids in those cages at the time,
and it was families in the cages, even though that's supposedly better."
Exactly. I thought that was a major missed opportunity. Also, I don't know how Trump is a way to get away with these hypotheticals in terms of what the country is going to be like if Biden is president and how there's not going to be law and order. Biden could have, I think maybe he did once or twice where he was like, "Dude, I'm not the president." He also said, "I wasn't the president at that time. I'm the vice president." I think Trump was really trying to come for his record for his 4-year tenure, as well as his 47-year tenure as a senator. And I think Biden could have really backed him into a corner and said, "Yo, you don't have any plans to address any of these issues. You're saying I failed as a vice president. You've had 4 years, and you also piggybacked on the success of my tenure as a vice president." I thought he could have really, really went harder with that. And he didn't. I thought it was lackluster. But overall, I think he didn't do enough to maybe get any Trump supporters, but I think he did enough to Biden did to keep his.
Well, Trump, it seems like he just wanted the election to happen in January. Because every time he speaks, it's like, "Well, before COVID, it was great. Before COVID, the economy was great. Before COVID, black people were great. Before COVID," I'm like, bro, COVID started in February. So we're living in a whole year right now.
Yeah.
You have no plan. You have no vaccine. And then they did press him on that. He was like, "Oh, yeah, we have a therapeutic. I call it a vaccine. It's going to come out." And then I loved how the moderator doubled down and were like, "So you're guaranteeing we'll have a vaccine?" "Oh, well, no, but I think so. Maybe, kind of." I was like, "Yeah, you definitely lost that point." I agree with you. Like Biden, he definitely lapsed, had a moment of lapse when he didn't say that about the cages. But what I was impressed, somebody in his campaign told him to just take full responsibility for the crime bill. And he's been doing that. And it's only been for like the last week or so. He's like, "We messed up.
Responsibility.
I was 100% wrong. I shouldn't have done it." I like that accountability though.
Yeah, I do like that.
I saw it as a different way, Lawrence. That's interesting because I think that he took accountability for some parts, but I think there's still some parts of the crime bill that he does stand by. Because I think he only really kind of pointed out like the drug, locking up.
Yeah.
Everything else he didn't really piggyback on. And I think the whole bill as a whole was terrible. So I think he's like picking and choosing which part of the crime bill to highlight and to say which is wrong. So to kind of comfort us in a way.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good start? Do we think it's a good start for him to try to recapture, I guess, the hearts of African Americans? Do you think it was enough for those who were anti-Biden?
Well, I heard that people in that time, the majority of voters at that time actually voted for the crime bill as well. It wasn't like that it was this thing that was so obsolete and out of the ordinary.
NCAA,
right,
NAACP voted for it. Like, yeah.
exactly. So I think we have to consider the times, and now we see, like, hindsight's 2020, right? Like, we see the effects of it, or put in law something that was going to control what was happening at that time from the 80s and from all the drama and crack and all that mess.
Yeah,
just mess.
Which he mentioned as well. I do agree. I do agree with you, Lawrence and Catherine. I think it was very political. And that's okay. Here's my letting it out. Okay.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Let it out.
And since when was it a bad thing to be a politician? Like, you know, the whole notion that, oh, that was a very political response. That was he's a politician. Like, I don't understand how that became a negative connotation to have a politically correct answer or to be political. I mean, you guys tell me, but I've just been.
And I was going to bring up that point. I was going to bring up that point because, ironically, I've been talking to a lot of Republicans lately, and one, they are still behind Trump because they don't want a politician. They're saying, why am I going to go back and vote for Biden? He's a politician. I voted for Trump the first time because I don't want a politician.
Right.
Now these same people are saying, well, we didn't have a politician and my money is straight now. So why am I going to go back to voting for a politician? And even I'm learning that senior, like 50 up Iranian women are voting for the first time because they have to protect their money, especially in California. So, I mean, it's interesting. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he won popular vote at this point. You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's going to flip California, but I think he will be fine.
Listen, like, I get the whole like tax thing and nobody wants their tax money to go up, but I've seen so many accurate and funny memes. It's all these people out here making $55,000 a year talking about, I want to vote for Trump because I don't want my taxes. Listen,
right, it's right.
You are not in the tax bracket. You don't make that, and you're not going to make that much in the next 4 years. I hate to break it to you.
Because they live in Iowa and rent is still like $300 and gas is like $1.
Exactly.
$1. So they think they're rich. They think it applies to them, but that is not the case. Have some receipts.
Ain't nobody taking your money. Don't worry about it. And the people that, you know, and I feel like it's justifiably so. Some people are like, hey, you know what? I make over $400,000 a year. I don't want to pay extra taxes. Therefore, I'm going to vote for Trump. And I'm like, cool, if that's what you believe in. But as a person that understands that, and even if I did make that much money, I care more about my civil rights, my civil liberties, and I care more about not having someone that is diametrically opposed to my race in the presidency. So yeah, I'll pay 10% extra taxes. And I think about it, like, people make it seem like they don't blow money on BS anyways. Like, I'll just not go to a steakhouse, or just like don't spend that money on an extra car. But at least once somebody in office, it's going to.
But I think they rather have choices because people don't think that those people protect them in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think that we can talk about this because, Lawrence, I think you're very progressive in a sense when it comes to men. But just the fact that I think a lot of men don't prioritize their civil liberties because they don't have to worry about the mundane things like healthcare and abortion and Roe versus Wade, blah, blah, blah. But then you all are going willy-nilly where women have to, so they're more actively voting. Yeah. And I heard never mind, skip me again.
I think that's a great point.
I was going to say, speaking of that, we can transition into it seemed like it happened in the dead of the night last night that Amy Coney Barrett was
that last night?
Was it last night or the night before?
I think it was the night before. Everything has been a blur.
It felt really sneaky. Like, it felt really sneaky. They confirmed her. It was like late at night. It was like somebody went and got married in Vegas or something at 2 o'clock in the morning. It just, I don't know, it just gave me a bad taste in my mouth, even though I knew it was going to happen. I knew she was going to get confirmed. For those of you who don't know, as soon as RBG died, we actually hopped on and we talked about the ramifications of what her confirmation would be. And we're already seeing it. They're already discussing how this is going to potentially affect the election. As we all know, mail-in ballots, Catherine had put it in our notes, the mail-in ballots and people voting early has superseded already what the voting rate was as of the last election. So therefore, we may be looking at, counting ballots well into the weeks after November 3rd. So this could be very, very tricky with her
because
being so far right, so to speak, and then with it being as lopsided as it is now. I don't know if you guys recall what happened when Bush baby went against actually won the election based upon a Supreme Court confirmation.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about all of this? I know it gives me
I want to say one thing. I want to piggyback off what Jasmine said. I'm going to pull, who did that? Mike Pence. Every time he was asked a question, he went back to the question he wanted to talk about. But this is a really important topic. And since we're letting it all out, I'm going to let it all out. Anybody who watches the show understands that 9 times out of 10, I'm always really, really fighting for the Black men in our community. And I think it's really important to do. We got to stand up for ourselves, right? But I want to take this moment to say what Jasmine said, but say it even louder from a Black man's perspective. We as Black men need to stand up for Black women more than we do. And, I hate saying stuff like that direct because it comes off as like, oh, this nigga, he just out there talking around some girls or something. He really don't mean it. He a simp. But it's very true. We need to understand that like our success in this life, in this world, in this country is predicated off of that of the Black woman. And if we are so short-sighted that we're only looking for our own best interests, we'll never actually achieve what we need to be because there are mothers, there are sisters, there are partners in this thing called life. So it's really, really important that you're right, Jasmine. A lot of the civil liberties issues, a lot of the things as a man you can walk by and you really don't have to think about or worry about. But take the extra time, take the extra vote, take the extra stance, take the moment and whatever your platform is to just stand up. And you would be surprised how much that helps. I understand this is to my Black men too. A lot of times we are ridiculed. We are talked down to. We are cussed out. We are called F-boys.
A lot of times?
People don't. Oh, a lot of us. A lot of times. And what happens is when we say something positive, brothers, a lot of times they like, but what about in your past? What about this? What about that? Keep that noise to the side. Stay focused on the prize, brothers. Even if you getting that backlash, stay positive, stay humble, because it's in our best interest to let all of us grow. And that includes our Black women. So even if they cussing you out, don't shoot them in the foot. Don't do it.
Even if they beat you at the BET Hip Hop Awards?
Even if they beat you at the BET Awards, you just got to take that one and be humble. Just take it and ride with it. But seriously, like, we need to do better. So that was my letting it out.
Well, that's a clip for Instagram and for Twitter. That needs to go viral.
Hey.
Viral. Make sure you guys are actually sharing. Catherine, you had something?
I was going to say we should have put Lawrence up individually so he could have just...
We all gonna be in there.
Yeah, I like to see our faces too when I'm going. So I appreciate it.
I do want to go to this comment. Shout out to this young man who I've known for quite some time. This is an opinion that I think I want to address because we haven't really discussed too much of this opinion. Trump is direct, period. I respect his direct approach in spite of it not being favored. It's not covert. Can't say the same about Biden. His responses are covert and indirect. I don't trust either. What do you guys think about that?
Quickly, I told you I've been talking to a lot of Republicans. I talked to a young Republican under the age of 25, which I was very surprised about. And he was like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. I like what he's saying. He's straightforward. He's direct. That's what I want out of president. And I was surprised because I thought Gen Z was very liberal, more progressive. So that's my opinion on the things. I know he's direct. He's a Gemini, so I understand a lot where he's coming from. I understand where he's coming from. I don't agree with him. I think he's the worst type of Gemini. However, he is.
I get where people are coming from, and I get where the misconception of him being direct may come across because it's his delivery. I think people are confusing delivery with intention. They're confusing his delivery with results. They are confusing his delivery with lying and fabrication. We used to say back in the day, lies and fabrication. He talks well. Yes, Thank you. Who cares if he's direct? He's lying. A direct lie is nothing to celebrate. I would say, one of the terms that has become popular amongst millennials within the last year or so has been gaslighting. I think if you actually research and look up what someone who is gaslighting does, Trump is the poster boy for it. Yeah. And if you're not aware of what gaslighting means, gaslighting is basically verbalizing and speaking things in such a manner that you make the person in the opposition think that they're crazy. You believe what you're saying so much to a point to where the other person has to somewhat question their own recognizance of the situation. Trump is the ultimate gaslighter. I do agree, maybe this country doesn't need someone who's so politically correct, who's not completely honest about how they really feel. And as I mentioned, Biden and Kamala, they have to be politically correct because, they have more at stake here, to be completely honest. But I do think that people get it confused. I honestly think people get it confused. I honestly think if you really do your research, as we like to really press into on this show, you will find that there are so many reasons why this man is president, and he wasn't even anticipating actually becoming president, to line his pockets with dough. If you really do the research, his whole agenda is to line his pockets and his family's pockets with money. Everything that he does, you can trickle it down, you can trace it to him inevitably getting money into his pocket and feeding his own agenda. If he doesn't
on the backs of us.
Yes, he has hotels and properties in other countries. He has dealings. We still haven't seen his taxes. Oh, that child, I'm not a CPA, but I can't release my taxes until the audit is complete. That's a dang lie. If I ain't heard one.
That's like I want to release them. I really want to.
He can release.
I want to do it. I just
whenever he wants. He can release them today, tomorrow. He could have released them back then. So, like I said, he's a gaslighter. So don't allow yourselves to be caught up in his gaslight. Like really take and research.
I was going to say that he projects everything. So the whole vote by mail, the whole chaos, the whole election scandal that he's been talking about over the past year, he has done. The GOP has done. We heard in LA that the GOP had planted voting boxes that weren't official. A church got screwed up in their mess. Like God, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm. There's just too many fallacies. There's too many fallacies. I would even say,
and they're getting away with it. That's the problem.
And Republicans are allowing him to get away with it. And me letting it out even more, Democrats are not on his coattail about it. Democrats are not pressing his line. Democrats are letting him get away with murder, and they're allowing themselves to be caught up in the rapture.
But do you think it's because it's like if we deal with him, it's going to take up too much of our energy and our time, where we need to prioritize our time on passing these, I don't know what they're passing that really is so significant, but like trying to fight and write these COVID bills and write all this other stuff. So it's like, what is their priority right now? How are they balancing their time?
Well, it's only so much you could do. Jasmine, if I came on the show today and I told everybody right now that you told me before the show you were going to wear a blue sweatshirt, and you lied to me and you wore a different color sweater, you can sit here and try to convince the audience that that's not true. But if I'm coming with a direct, bold-faced lie, it's only so much you can do, especially when somebody controls the narrative. Trump does a lot of that. Like gaslighting to the extreme is when you get ahead of the curve. And let's just be honest, he's a good celebrity. He had a hit TV show on ABC. You know what I'm saying? I watched it. You're fired. Everybody liked that. He's a good celebrity. And a lot of these other politicians, now I'm gonna be completely honest, there are a lot of corrupt politicians, and there's a reason why we should be skeptical of our politicians. Absolutely. Yeah. But when you have somebody that's not a career politician, that really doesn't care because he's lied his whole business career, got away with it, been bankrupt many a times, got away with it. It's a whole different mindset. He doesn't have a lot to lose. So he's just doing what he's been doing of lying, gaslighting people, whatever. If it doesn't work, I'll sell this company and get another one. You know, and I feel like that's the mentality that he's brought into being president of the United States. And my major pushback is this, especially to people of color that are Trump supporters. I get the whole tax thing. I get the whole being direct thing. But when you hear white supremacist organizations overtly say, hey, he is our leader. Because Trump is in office, we support him. And this is why the Proud Brothers were created. we believe we need to do X, Y, and Z from Klans members. So when you hear those individuals say this is their leader, why are you still supporting them? Like, because of tax money? So,
yeah, that's
I want to hear Catherine. I want to hear Catherine's.
Yeah.
I completely agree with, especially with Lawrence. Trump is a master marketer. He knows how to market himself. He knew coming into the game that he wasn't a politician, and he used that to his advantage because he knew that Americans were tired of politicians and tired of his bullshit. So he marketed himself as the opposite of what we don't want. So he kind of played into that, and it's been a part of his message, and it's still something he's running on. So, and I also, Tariq, I have a theory on why ACB was pushed, to the Supreme Court so fast, because there are a number of legal battles that revolve around voter rights right now. So her being confirmed could affect the election and could also
exactly.
And we had that issue in 2000 with Al Gore and George W. Bush, where the Supreme Court ultimately picked George W. Bush as as the president, and Al Gore was pushing to get votes recounted, and we can have that same issue during this election if some of those legal battles do pass in Trump's favor. So there's a lot of reasons why she was confirmed. So
great point. Yeah,
that's an amazing point. Well, we come to that time. I'm very excited. We have a wonderful special guest that we're going to be bringing in. And actually, you know what? I'm going to let you do the honor because you and this gentleman are good friends. And I'm excited to have you guys both here together to have some discourse. So let's let you take it away.
Hey, I appreciate it. We are about to bring in he's currently running for school board, a member of the city of Lancaster, one of my best friends, my brother. We went to UCLA together. He's a professor, has his master's in African American studies, a great member of the community, always supporting our cause and our initiatives. Christian Green, or Professor Christian Green, I should say.
Woo, Bay Area.
What's up?
Soon to be board member, right? Right, school board member. We're gonna speak that into existence.
Yes.
And don't forget, he started out the show with us, right?
Yes. We missed you, Christian. How's it going?
Don't kick me off now. I'm coming back. But no, I'm happy to see all your smiling faces, beautiful faces. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great. Well, we're just going to jump into it. Please let us know what's been going on with you. How's the campaign? Give our audience, some information about your candidacy.
Yeah, definitely. So we're running out here in Lancaster. It covers District 3. So all of the high schools in this area. Right now, we're representing about 4 different schools of the 12. And so what we've been doing is just hitting we've been hitting the ground, the pavement, as COVID-19 friendly as possible. And so just going down, meeting people, meeting the voters, Democrats, independents, more specifically, and really getting to talk with the youth and young adults. So predominantly my campaign team, our volunteers are filled with youth and young adults, going grassroots about it. And so, we've been doing a lot of good work. That's why I've been a little bit with you guys and all, but for the most part, really trying to change how I'm doing it, but not really too much social media, but more so hands-on approach. And it's been a great experience. I've gotten a lot of great feedback. Right now, I'm in it's me and this other candidate that's neck and neck. And so, for the best for the next third this weekend.
So I've never run for political office or anything, honestly. I think the most I ever did was back at Berkeley High. I was the African American student body president. That was about it. So how has this process been for you in terms of running and seeing it hands on how it works?
So for myself, so there's an echo. Is there an echo?
Slightly. Yeah, you're okay for now.
Okay, all right. Let me know. But repeat the question one more time. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, how has this experience been? You actually in this running? I mean, amidst all of the, the intensity with 2020, how has it been your experience so far?
It's been exciting. It's also been a little overwhelming at times because you feel like some people get support, some people don't. So my main focus is staying on the positive. I believe you guys know that I ran for earlier this year. So literally like a crash course politics, like 101. And I guess for me, it's just remaining optimistic and being positive about it, and understanding the reason and the why of running in the first place. Our high schools out here are 80% black and brown, right? And the people that are sitting on the positions of power don't look like us. They don't represent us, right? And so this is the whole reason of my why of why I'm running. And it's been a great experience. And I'm
Awesome. Lawrence, did you have any questions for your friend?
Yeah, I think a piggyback question of that, if you could just give us a little bit of the history of how you got into running for political office. I think a lot of our viewers may one day be interested in politics or be interested in going down that route, but not know how to get started. Do you need a campaign manager? What were kind of like when you first thought of the idea of potentially running for office? A, how did you come to understand like which office you wanted to run for? And B, what were some of the tools and pieces you put together to start your run?
Yeah, kind of goes back to what Sharik was saying. Going back to high school, we ran a campaign at UCLA. So I was the organizing director for the graduate students there, as well as the Black graduate student body president. And so realizing all those
co-president.
Well,
I'm messaging.
So we have utilizing all the things that I learned over there at UCLA and brought them to the city. Now it's like real life, stuff that we see on TV and corruption and these political thugs. It's real life, right? Especially when you're running locally. So you're coming in and you're trying to challenge the status quo, challenge the establishment. It can become a battle against you, right? And so for myself, I just reach out to the different local teams. I'm a hard Democrat, go Biden and Harris, but I'm just more so trying to. When I came out here, I wanted to connect with the different connections. I also went to the different nonprofits, the youth pastor out here, so I already am familiar with the Black church and different areas around there. But also, I grew up out here in Lancaster, Palmdale, and so for myself, when you decide to want to run, you have to understand, of course, the why, but then there's the how, and the how really comes upon the voters. You have to look at the demographics. You have to do your research. You have to be a campaign manager. Right now, I'm my own campaign manager. I have a campaign manager for my city council, but I also have a consultant now, right? So it's expanded. I've learned a lot from my first campaign. My thing is just learning the demographics and how you're going to do it. My last one was more of a push social media because COVID it hit real quick, so we weren't able to get out on our feet and on the trail. So this one is a little bit different. We learned how to adjust to it, partnered up with some other organizations and whatnot. And from there, I was able to, focus on different mailing options. People are more prone to, to receiving mail. They'll receive some sort of way, some may not. So, I was able, thank God, to be able to push out some stuff and working with a great team right now. And we really, really have a good team.
So
great. I guess. Oh yeah, go ahead, Catherine.
So Christian, I'm going to say when you win, not if you win. But when you win, what will be some of the first issues that you tackle in that position?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a couple of different things that I really want to tackle. One is unifying the board, right? So learning how to, right now it's 2 and 2. There's a seat that is open. The seat that is open is the seat that I'm running for. First, unifying the board, trying to figure out where we can come and meet at the middle at. That is one, trying to bridge the gap. The second thing is trying to figure out, I believe you guys should be familiar with the school to prison pipeline. So going in there and going to the different, talking to the different principals, talking to the different staff, administrators, etc., to figure out why are our students failing dramatically or drastically in English and language arts and mathematics. Those are the core, right? But however, these even with that, our students are still being overly criminalized, penalized, etc. And so there's a different couple of things that I want to focus on, but more so I really want to go in there and get my feet wet, trying to figure out how I can, learn as much as possible. I'm not trying to come in, take over anything, but more so learn where I can fit in, but also how I can make that substantial change. Over 68% students, over 68% males that are in the state and federal prison don't have high school diplomas. Uh,
Mm.
Times Black and Latino students are twice as likely to not graduate as our white counterparts. And then 3.5 times Black students are suspended more than our white counterparts. So we want to make sure that we address those issues, but then we have to understand the core issues too, is that some of our students just don't know how to read and write, and they don't even want to go to school. So we have to figure out how to bring this hope and this fun back into schooling. And then as a professor, as a teacher, I don't think that my goal is just not to teach and lecture for the knowledge, but it's to really figure out to get up in your business, to be a mentor, to be a counselor. It encompasses all that, and that's the same thing with the board member. I'm gonna have more of a hands-on approach.
That's awesome.
I have a question, Christian.
Yeah.
How you're talking about all these issues kind of that we've been dealing with for the last decade with Black and brown children, but I think with COVID we've seen a new problem where they're saying we are failing behind academically. One, because we don't have the Wi-Fi, we don't have the computer resources, we don't have the technology to really learn at the pace that our counterparts do. So are there any initiatives in Palmdale, Lancaster that you all are working on to kind of combat that?
Yeah, definitely. So, talking about closing the digital divide, right?
Right.
Setting the technological advances and whatnot. There's a lot of caregivers that don't really know how to operate the computer. So even with
Right.
their students, their kids, there's a lack thereof. So a lot of different partnerships have to be taken into place with different nonprofits, with different tutoring, and even myself having a nonprofit, figuring out how I can, bridge that gap as well. As of right now, specific initiatives, I wouldn't say that there are any in the area, but I know for sure our school system has opted to give every student Wi-Fi and to give them a computer. The Google Chromebooks is a mess, right? So we got to figure out how to fix that because I've been getting a lot of bad feedback from different community partners and students that really just don't know how to.
Oh, the Chromebooks? I thought they would be good.
No.
Oh, damn, Google.
I mean, Mac, we have, I don't know, y'all, I got a Mac.
I have a Mac.
Mac. Yeah.
Come from privileged areas. So it's a little bit different. I'm sure that we can't afford.
Well, even Adele will get it together. HP. Come on now.
See, I told Jasmine she was too rich earlier. You know what I mean? I told her about that. She got a Mac.
Was Adele.
Talk about.
My second was a Mac.
Oh. Okay. No, I think that's really dope. So, Christian, just to kind of go back to, I know you said you had ran earlier this year for city council, and I know when you were on the show, we spoke a lot about some of the racial injustices that were happening in your area and how you were kind of one of the leaders for the movement to bring awareness to some of the killings. And I know there were some lynchings that had happened. It hasn't been on the news. I haven't seen any updates as of yet. Can you kind of give us an update as to what's happening with those situations?
Yeah, so we're still working. Let me say this: the different cities, Palmdale and Lancaster, they've branched out. They have created these different commissions, the Commission of Equity. So we were able to push that, and then there was a Think in Palmdale Commission for Human Rights. So there's different commissions now. Do these commissions actually hold power? We'll see in a couple of months. We'll check that. What we have been doing, there is a movement right now, Justice for Michael Thomas. We are working on that because that happened a day after the Robert Fuller's case. And we still don't know the police officer's name. We still don't know if the police officer is still working. From the sounds of it, he still has a job. We don't even know what he looks like or his name, right? This point of accountability. And we have different people around town in this area that is consistently pushing for that. At the end of the day, this area, I mean, we have to be optimistic about it, but the reality of it is that these officers are not realizing the abuse of their power. I mean, if they are, they just ain't changing. So this is where, these community conversations and interventions have to take place with, young adults such as ourselves, young professionals as ourselves. It's never too young. And I always, I got a 17, 18-year-old right now that's on the commission, right? So we're just continuously pushing our young people because at the end of the day, we're the next generation. We are the now, but then we have the next generation we have to uplift.
Yeah. So speaking of which, I kind of want to go to this clip. This went viral today, and I want to get your feedback, Christian, as well as the rest of us on the show. Speaking of, accountability within the police force, there's this clip of this young lady in Kansas City that did go viral today. She was speaking directly to the commission, the police board in her area, and I thought it was good. So we're just going to play this really quickly.
I'm sure nobody. Fair warning. I'm not nice and I don't seek to be respectable. I'm not asking y'all for anything because y'all can't and won't be both my savior and my oppressor. I don't want reform. I want to turn this building into luxury, low-cost housing. These will make some really nice apartments to me. Firstly, stop using Black children as photo opportunities because they're cute now, but in 10 years, they're Black male suspect in red shirts and khaki shorts. Eating cookies and drinking milk with children does not absolve you of your complicity in their oppression and denigration, Rick Smith. Because Kansas City will spend more on police than education and then try to encourage children to feast with their oppressors. Y'all are really weird. It's asinine to be called radical or homegrown terrorists for not wanting government employees to kill citizens in any instance. So I'm not here begging anything of soulless white folks and self-preserving Black folks. You get one life, and you all in this room have chosen profits over people, and that's pathetic. So I'm going to spend the next 2 minutes reading y'all for a filth, something I'm sure nobody has ever done. Nathan, the gentleman in the vomit-colored men's warehouse suit in desperate need of Bosley and a haircut, a former FBI agent who exudes white privilege and is the epitome of mediocrity, and who loves Trump so much that he hired his former attorney general at his firm. And it's so sweet because he spent most of this meeting looking away with his head in his hands. Or Mark, Pastor Mark of Victorious Life Church on 34th and Paseo, where the mission is to provide a place and opportunity to worship Jesus Christ and preach a message of hope and faith through God's holy word in the building. Meanwhile, he's subjecting Black people to terrorism and un-Christ-like behavior at the hands of KCPD outside the building. Ooh. And Kathy, Miss, I'll get here before the other commission members, so I look as if I have empathy, and I'm excited to hear what they have to say. Meanwhile, I didn't have anything else to do at 8 o'clock in the morning but be rich and white and retired, so I'm here early. Or Don, owner of Wagner Investments, Blue Notes LLC, and part owner of the Royals, another rich and white and disconnected and out of touch person with nothing but pure apathy seeping through the bulging veins of your paper-colored skin.
That woman has bars.
Bars. I'm not going to play the entire thing. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay, I'm good. I didn't want to play the entire thing, but you get the gist of it. A lot of people have been talking about this clip. I've been hearing some differences in opinions in regards to, yes, we need more of that. We need people, making these people accountable. Then on the other token, I've seen some people who've been like, yeah, but was it effective? Was it the right way to go about it? Yes, we love that she was there. We love that she's bringing attention to it. But just, I'm just opening it up to everybody. Do you think that what she did was actually effective? Do you think she got her point across? And do you think it's actually going to incite some change within that organization?
I'll start. So I think that what I'm fearful of is that it's going to turn into a shade room opportunity, and all the girls are starting going to town hall meetings, and then they're going to have separate town hall meetings for people to actually figure out what they're going to do. I think that I don't want to use the word dangerous, but the comedy of it all and the read of it all is what what went viral. Because really she didn't say much. Like, she said a lot, but she didn't say much. So yes, thank you, girl. Please be involved in civic engagement. However, that was a street yard read, not a boardroom read.
I like that.
You gotta cuss people out politely, and she cussed people out. Actually, that was a polite ass cuss out. However, it was still funny.
Lawrence, I saw your reaction over there, Lawrence.
Yeah. So when I first saw it, I said it was extremely effective. She did exactly what she said she was going to do. She said, "I'm not here for any of that other stuff right now. I'm here to read you." And I think this speaks to Rondell's point that he made earlier. She was straight. She was direct and to the point. Trump does this type of stuff all the time. And we, as usually like liberals, we sit back and it's like, hey, you shouldn't attack Rosie O'Donnell. You shouldn't attack Mitch McConnell. You shouldn't do that. But he does it and he wins. So I feel like I don't have all the answers, Sway. Now, I wouldn't have done it that way. But the way she did it, it went viral. And it put those politicians on blast. I bet you they might clean up their act a little bit moving forward. And they're going to get a little more negative attention than they would. It reminds me a lot of the hashtag Karen movement. You know, at a certain point, like, I don't know that individual, you know, white woman in South Florida, but she's going to get a lot of social media attention if she cusses out somebody incorrectly. So I thought it was effective. I agree to your point, Jasmine. That can't be the only line of defense, if you will. That can't be the only thing we do in board meetings. But sometimes you need somebody to just read somebody, you know?
Right.
That's why I got the grill in today. Like, sometimes you got to let it out, like this show. This our let it out episode. She had her let it out episode.
She like the auntie at the cookout that just be talking and just be like, "Look, I'm gonna tell you what it is." And sometimes we need that. I'm never mad at my favorite auntie is that auntie that just be cussing everybody out.
Yeah. Christian, did you have you seen that before? Did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I saw it today, and I was like, "Oh, I feel it." I love stuff like this. You know, I think that there is no right or wrong way for people to demand justice or to speak to authority, right? I think she had her own way and her own approach. I think what Lawrence was saying in regards to her coming, I'm not here to be nice. I'm not going to be nice with this. So, you know, don't expect for me to come with the correct language, the correct vernacular. You know, I'm going to speak to you how I'm going to speak to my sister off the street, right? And I think that speaks volumes. I like how Jasmine talked. You know, you can say that it's dangerous, but it's also, I think that it is effective. I mean, literally, probably millions have seen this video already, and I'm sure that board commission is like, "What the heck," right?
But does it? I think they're thinking, does it change my voter, or does it just get me publicity for my governor race?
She didn't personally do it for publicity.
Yeah,
you know,
it's the effects of it.
Yeah, it's the effects of it, right? And I think that I don't know if at the end of it, I don't know if they were laughing at her or something. It was something.
Yeah, because she ended it like, "Oh, you're very funny, Kiki," and she walked off. I thought it was very personal.
Yeah, and
it was personal. She must have worked there. She worked there.
She said the Rogaine, you need a haircut. I was like, what?
She
knew the one lady had got there early. She knew that she was in
her business. That girl, you are just a retired wife. Shit out
baby. She knew about what they were talking about, where they're from, the management companies, you know, how long they've been in office, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I think that where she was going with it, and she hit it on target, it wasn't as, you know, what's that? When people come against certain status quo, you're deemed as radical. You brought it up too. You're deemed as angry. Could we say she was angry then? I don't think so. I think she was very passionate in her voice and in her speaking, and how she, you know, did what she had to do. And I think that this is a very effective tool to activate some other youth and young adults across the nation to go to these town halls, to speak up, and let people know that, you know, we're not going to just sit by silently.
Yeah. Catherine, what are your thoughts? I'm curious what you thought about it.
I think it kind of goes back to us, the respectability politics. I don't think she needed to show up a certain way to be heard. I think that from the detail in which you read them to Phil, you can tell that she is engaged on another level. Yeah. And maybe, you know, she just had that approach in that meeting. I don't know personally. It's just my assumption. But I don't think there's a way that she needed to. I mean, we see that from other ethnicities all the time, you know, from our president mainly. But so, I'm on board. I'm here for it, sis. Yes.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I I get where some people are coming from in terms of them not being accustomed to, like you said, the vernacular, the delivery of it. But, you know, she's blackity black, 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 and she's unapologetic, you know, and I think we have to wear that as a badge of honor. And we have to know that there is, you know, people love our culture. It's a part of who we are, and it's a part of how we allow our voices to be heard. What I'm hoping is that, you know, above everything else, this it ignited the thought process in young adults that, oh, I can actually go to these board meetings. Like, oh, I can go to the police board meeting. I can, you know, because we talk about local politics so much, and even Christian just mentioned it, how effective local politics really are, and how she knows who these people are by their name, who's in their wallets, who's in their pockets. That is power, I say, above anything else. And yes, we have these elections coming up. And this was recent. This was just yesterday that this happened. And this young lady who I did my research and looked into her. This isn't her first time. She's actually a well-known activist in her community. This is what she does. And she really brought awareness to this. And so now I'm like, where's the police commission board in LA? I need to go.
Let's go. I'm ready to go with you.
I'm ready to go. And I think that it was a really good thing. I know my experience in high school, I presented to the school board when I was in high school, a program that was at my high school. And I then was very surprised at the attendance. Wasn't surprised at the lack of brown people that were in attendance, but just to know that we do have that right to be in that room. Very, very, very powerful. So kudos to her. And yeah, I think we need more of that.
Okay, so I have a question for everybody. It's a little more lighthearted, but it's still politically related.
It's the grill.
Yesterday, it's the grill. It's the grill, my bad. So, and I'll start it off with Christian, and then we'll go around because I want to hear everybody's opinion on this. So my vice president candidate, soon to be vice president, soon to be president, Kamala Harris, a while ago made some comments on the Breakfast Club about how she used to listen to hip hop back when she was at Howard and listen to the dates didn't add up. And, you know, looking at her, and she's a great, and I believe she's blackity black, black, black. I'm not taking anything away from her. She doesn't seem to be too related to the hip hop culture. Yesterday, if anybody y'all saw, she showed up on the BET Awards urging people to go out and vote, which is a great thing to do. Everybody should vote. My question for Christian and everybody on the board is that how do you feel about your politicians kind of reaching out to sub-communities that they normally aren't a part of? Some people call it pandering. Some people say it's a good thing to reach out. How do you, like Hillary's done it before. She went on the Breakfast Club. I'm like, Hillary Clinton on the Breakfast Club. What are you doing? So how do y'all feel? Is it pandering? Should they do it? And Christian, would you do it? Do you see yourself going, in your case, maybe like, I don't know what you listen to, but if you don't listen to classical, would you go to a classical music station or a country to like reach out to voters?
Yeah, so great question. I am ambiguous. So I am part of my ancestry. I'm black, white, Mexican, Native American. So I wouldn't be called pandering. They're actually community. However, I do listen to country, classical, all of it. So with that, Trump does it. The whole Republican Party does it as well. What's Kanye, and it was reaching out to, I think he was reaching out to some other hip hop stars as well. I think with
Ice Cube,
right? So we have Kamala Harris, where she's part black. So why wouldn't she identify that as her identity? Now she may not have been engaged as in Bass or a Holly Mitchell, but there are, she identifies that way. So I wouldn't necessarily call it pandering. I think we also need to, steer away from that conversation because we don't want people to get the wrong idea. And that's just me personally thinking about it because we plant these little seeds in people's minds to where, oh, she's not black. She's not black enough. No, she is black. I mean, for us at one time in our life, we weren't even considered to be black. We were 3/5 of a person. So we need to understand that, her to still make change. Now, this is after election. We're going to have to hold her but accountable.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'll jump in on that one. I am a little bit biased, because she's from where I'm from. We was born in the same hospital and all of that. And people have been, going down the line of all of the things that she has done and she's trying to do for the community. In terms of people that are completely removed from our community, quote unquote pandering. I know some people felt some type of way about Biden having the conversation with Cardi And then when you look at that whole, you know, interaction as opposed to them allowing the conversation with Ice Cube, you know, it does have to make you question. But I think when it's all said and done, Kamala, for me at least, hasn't just came out of nowhere. She didn't just drop out of nowhere. Kamala has been around. You know, she's an AKA. She went to a historically Black college. You can say whatever you want. She's somewhat ambiguous as well, but we all are. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not the complexion that I am for no reason. You know, like we all have so many different shades, and that's what makes us beautiful, and that's what makes us. That should allow us to be more together. And I agree with Christian. We have to stop going against ourselves. We have to start planting seeds that are going to grow in our opposition. We have to allow ourselves to be who we are. She did kind of mess up on that question, and you know that was the wrong place to do it because Charlemagne will come for you. But I think she bounced back from it, and you know we know what her intentions are. I think we know what her intentions are.
Okay.
I'll go next. So y'all might not like my opinion, but I felt like it was like when the Democrats wore the kente cloth.
I forgot about that.
It feels a little performative. It doesn't feel honest and truthful. And Kamala, there's so many different types of Black people. Kamala does not have to pretend to be, you know, the type of, I don't know. To me, it just felt performative. I don't think we need. There's a different way to appeal to that base without Kamala having to pretend. If that's not who she is, that's okay. We still accept that type of Black. We accept all type of Black people. And you know, it reminded me of that video of the Atlanta strippers. Like that was perfect for their base. There's a way to reach out to the base that they're trying to get without being performative.
Yeah. I 100% agree with all of you on different points. I think that Kamala needs to know her base. She's an AKA in her mid-age. No shade, but no shade. But that's her demographic. Those are the people who she needs to rally out. They are the influencers who are going to preach down to the younger demographic, who are going to get encouraged and make the twerk videos to encourage us and get us excited. So I think, should she have been on the Hip Hop Awards? Probably not. She did Oprah. I saw that she did a spot in Atlanta that I've been dying to check out. Heard so much about it. The Gathering spot, it's like the WeWorks, but for Black people in Atlanta.
She did
pardon?
She did Verses with Brandy and Monica.
She did, right. She did Verses is the perfect place for her to be.
That's
she needs
spot.
to be with women. I guess that it was a women, I guess, the cipher and all that. I didn't watch the BET Awards. Thinking outside the box with me not being in the know, I'm thinking, no, she shouldn't have done the Hip Hop Awards because she had that snafu. But also, she's middle age. She's been going through shit. She's a lawyer also. Like, she be reading stuff. Her mind's always there for her to execute. However, she ain't thinking about no goddamn dates of Tupac. Please.
It could have just been an honest mistake.
It's an honest mistake. Ask her the Constitution date. Ask her the Civil Rights date. Ask her something that's relevant to her.
And what's relevant to the forward movement of this country. Right. Absolutely. I agree. Well, we have run out of time. We are. This last comment up though that kind of speaks to what you say from I don't want to mispronounce your name, honey,
but I love it.
What you said. We all recognize that Black people aren't monolithic group. So she may not be a hip hop Black, but she's Black and should therefore be welcomed in all Black spaces.
Amen.
Couldn't have said it.
Welcome.
That's Ganiatu, everybody. That's my girlfriend.
Oh, hey.
She hasn't posted in the chat, but she did it today, so I appreciate it.
Hey, I love it.
Thank you for speaking.
Thank you. So so I'm gonna wrap it up here. I do want to go around and get everyone's last word. So we'll save Christian for last because we definitely want him to give us some information regarding his campaign and where to look him up. So I'll go ahead and go to Catherine.
I would just say to vote. Like I said, there are some legal battles over voter rights that are constantly being pushed through the Supreme Court. So it is important that we show up and show out so those numbers can be undeniable on election day. So please vote if you haven't. If you still have a mail-in ballot, do not mail it in, drop it off, vote.
Thank you, yes. Jasmine?
I was going to say the same thing you did, Catherine. So I am going to say something that someone in the elevator told me. It's been a hard, crazy year, but we are almost at the end. We have 2 months left. Power through. Make your plans to, if not a prosperous financially, but a peaceful year for the new year. Do some reflections. This is the time to kind of tap into that holiday season where you find gratefulness from over the years. So I encourage you all to find a little bit of joy. And if we can't be with our families, then, Zoom them, all that good stuff.
Nice. Lawrence?
Yes, definitely go vote. And to piggyback off what Jasmine said, this has been a really, really hard year, psychologically, emotionally. If Gigi was here, I'm sure she would say, protect your mental health, protect your peace. And I want to remind people that, like, you have to take the time to look at the positive as well. I know it's so hard to do, but even this show, for all of us on this panel, it's a reprieve. It's being able to get together with friends and get together with family and speak your mind and have some positivity. So protect your peace, protect your heart, and stay positive if you can. And it's almost over. I promise you. I don't know. I don't have any facts to back that up, but I swear to you, I believe that it's almost over. Just try to stay positive.
Absolutely. I'll go and then I'll throw it to Christian. I just want to say, you guys, we are at the end of this race. I'm not going to lie. I am nervous because I knew we had it in the bag 4 years ago. I wasn't worried. I was like, it's going to be great. And I'm not going to lie to you. I've never shared this before, you guys. I was emotional last year when Trump announced. It was kind of like being in the twilight zone. Like, is this where we've come? Is this where we are? Is this real? And it was more so emotional because my grandfather, who was one of the political foundations in my life, who always advocated for voting and as Black people specifically, to let our voices be heard. He passed away in 2012. And I couldn't help but think, oh my God, what would my grandfather think if he was here today? He would be furious. And I'm just hoping and I'm praying that we have better days ahead. And again, we have to protect our peace and we have to get to these local elections. If this don't work out, you guys, this ain't the end. We can go to these local elections. We can vote for Christian if we're in his district. We can vote for people in our districts. We can really make a change and follow these leaders in our communities as they grow. Because Kamala, like I said, she didn't come out of nowhere. She didn't just decide to run for vice president. She's been doing her work for years and years and years. She probably ran for president in her middle school. So all of these elections are so important, guys. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to throw it over to Christian for his final words.
Definitely. I want to say thank you again for having me. It's always great to see your beautiful faces and hear your empowering words. I guess the pastor in me is going to start off with the scripture because our theme today was just dealing with overcoming the anxieties of 2020. The Bible talks about be anxious for nothing, right? But in prayer and supplication, let your request be known to God. The key thing is Thanksgiving. Regardless of this pandemic, of all the things that we've encountered this year, Black people are resilient. We are resilient. We've been resilient since 400 years ago. We never hit this America plantation. We have to understand that this is just a small, minute pandemic. And for us to stay optimistic during this, even in elections, as myself, I'm running, but I mean, 6, 7, 8 years. This is a 24-hour job, really, to be truthful. Mine is always going. I'm ready for it to be. So I know if I'm ready for it to be over, I'm sure all the big timers is as well. But I want you to realize that there is power in your vote. Get out there and vote. Encourage and tell. Go text. I dare you right now, whoever's watching, to go text 5 people and let them know to go vote. Research your propositions in your area, the local measures. Look at your local ballot, and make it all happen because it starts locally, then state, then federal. If you want more information about me, Instagram, but also visit my website, greenforstudents.com. I would love for you to donate. Please donate. But in that process, follow me on Instagram, Christian423. Excellent job today. Yup. And thank you again.
And we're excited to have you back with all of this. We would love to have you back. But thank you guys. Please make sure you're following all of us and following at @yup_network. We'll see you after the election. It's going to be a new world the next time you see our faces. So,
a new world.
Yeah.
A better world. A better world.
Yes. All right, you guys. Have a good night.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.